In today's video, we are going to take a look at my personal tier list about all of the arcs that we have seen so far in Blue Lock. The list contains a ranking from S to D, where I'm going to rank each of the arcs and...
shut up and start the video.
Alright guys, we are going to rate the arcs chronologically, which means that we are going to start with our first arc, which is the first selection. And the first selection, I gotta say, to this day is my favorite arc. I don't think it objectively is the best arc, but personally it is my favorite. Because I don't know if you can relate, but at the beginning, when you start to watch Blue Lock for the first time, you don't expect this kind of football anime. You think it's going to be another typical sports anime where all of the players are going to be friends and where the ball is their best friend, and if they believe in themselves and work hard enough, they can achieve everything they've always dreamed of. But Blue Lock is different and brings some fresh air with it into this genre. Blue Lock has this battle royale, survival, squid game, danganronpa type of system, and vibe, which we have never seen before in a sports anime or manga, which is super cool and which is also the reason why it gets us hooked so much. And Blue Lock instantly started with a banger when Kira, who at the beginning seemed to be the rising star of Japan, instantly got eliminated and kicked out of Blue Lock by his own friend ISAGI, who gave him the reality check of his life. Then we had all these insane type of matches with Baru, who destroyed the whole Team Z just by himself and who has already been on a different level individually. Nico, who was such a great mastermind in a very underrated and tactical team, and then obviously Nagi, Reo and Santetsu, who just seemed like gods on the field and unstoppable with their pace, finesse and accuracy. And it just didn't stop because the first selection had so many great moments, from Team Z getting betrayed by their own member Kwon, to Isagi scoring his first goal against Nico, and Team Z breaking their limits to beat Team Y literally on the last minute of the match to survive the first selection in the end. So the first selection easily is a S tier for me. Like I said, personally my favorite arc of all time. Let's continue with the second selection. In the second selection, new characters like Rin or Tokimitsu got introduced, and we gotta say that the arc started pretty slow at first, with Isagi needing to score 100 goals within 90 minutes to make it to the third stage, where he had to play with Nagi and Bajira against Rin, Ario and Tokimitsu. It was a pretty cool match where we got to see Rin's skills and dominance for the first time, and how big the skill gap between Rin and Isagi was at that point. Then we saw the second stage with the 2v2 match, and I really liked this match, and especially the outcome of it. And to see Naruhaya's background and motive of why he joined Blue Lock in the first place made his elimination much more tragic. Because at this point, you as a viewer start to realize that not everyone is in Blue Lock because of egoistical motives. There are players who do it to support their family, which gives the whole Battle Royale system a much more tragic side effect. By the way, this match was one of the key matches for Isagi during his stay at Blue Lock, as he was able to learn off-ball movement from Naruhaya, which has become one of his most important skills later on. The fourth stage, with the 4v4 match, was also kinda cool, and seeing Kunigami being eliminated was a huge shock as well. And I remember how much noise the hint of the wildcard caused, and how all kind of theories suddenly popped up out of nowhere. In general, I would say that the second selection arc was kinda cool, which is why I would put it into A tier. The Big 5 arc, with the team of Isagi, Rin, Ario, Tokimitsu and Bajira facing the Big 5, was a pretty interesting arc. Because after the second selection, I feel like most of the viewers kind of had this feeling that this team, and especially Rin, might be unbeatable. So bringing in the Big 5 was the perfect step by Kanjiro to show that the Blue Lockers are still just rookies and still need to improve a lot to be able to fight against the world's best one day in a World Cup. But with the introduction of Loki, we finally got to see a member of the new Gen World 11 in action, which was also very cool. The Big 5 arc goes into B tier. Next up is the third selection, where Ego was trying to get the last pieces of information he needed to decide which players will be in the starting 11 for the match against the U20 of Japan. The remaining 35 players have to choose a team of A, B and C to prove their skills in coexistence with the top 7 Blue Lock players: Rin, Shido, Karazu, Otoya, Yokimiya and Nagi. And this caused some very interesting problems and surprises that we got to see within the teams and between the players. So Team A, for example, with Rin and Shido as their leaders, should have just been broken. And actually they still were in the end, as they won all of their matches. But having Rin and Shido in the same team, you would kind of expect their team to just win every game with ease, by at least 3 goals difference. But in the end they actually kind of struggled to win their games. and the reason therefore was because of the chemistry between Rin and Shido, which literally just didn't exist, as they couldn't stand each other and weren't able to share a chemical reaction together, which is the reason why every member in this team had to adjust to either Rin or Shido to make an impact. Here we got to see new characters again, like Hayori or Nanase, and especially Hayori left a big impact during this match, as he was able to prove that he's a player who can balance the game perfectly due to his calmness and great passing ability, which is something that would become important again at some point later in the story. Ryo also was able to take a huge step in his development, as he was able to show his copy technique for the first time, which has become his trademark move in the future. Furthermore, Karasu and Otoya, who are both great players, but not as clinical strikers as Rin or Shido, were able to leave a big impression on the field, as their chemistry was just on point, and together they were able to cause Team A some big trouble, although they were individually less skilled than Rin and Shido when it comes to pure goal scoring. In general, I would say that the third selection was a nice and kind of calm but exciting cooldown arc, as we got to see mixed teams with new and interesting characters, but in the end, I think so far it has been the weakest arc, so I have to put it into C tier. It was alright, but for sure isn't an arc that I would always remember instantly whenever I think of Blue Lock and its arcs. Alright, next up is the I think most popular arc in the Blue Lock community, and for sure an arc where most of the fans say that Blue Lock has reached its peak at this point. The U20 arc, where Blue Lock 11 played against U20 of Japan to sabotage them or get sabotaged. And everything around this arc was perfect. First the build up with Blue Lock 11, where all of the best Blue Lock players finally were on the same page and fought together to kind of become the new U20 team of Japan. Then we finally had the reveal of Itoshi Sai and his skills, and why he is Japan's golden talent and also a member of the new generation 11, and so far the only Japanese player who's playing abroad in Spain for Real Madrid. We also get to see Shido in full action, who had a lethal chemistry with Sai, and we experienced why he was the reason that Kunigami had been eliminated in the second selection. Furthermore, we got new important characters with Aiko and Sendo on the U20 side, and finally the reveal of Itoshi Ren's backstory. And to be honest, this match had everything that it needed to become the best match in the series so far. We had Itoshi Sai, who was just at least 2 levels above all the other players with his skills, as he was able to out-dribble his opponents all by himself, assist Shido with ease, and even score goals on his own. Then we had Nagi, who once again proved his geniusness with a great 1v1 equalizer. Then Rin had his great moment, where we could see why he's the brother of the world-famous Itoshi Sai, but then Shido, who was actually supposed to play for Blue Lock 11, became their biggest nightmare by scoring 2 goals after great passes from Itoshi Sai. Bao then had his wildcard moment and scored the 3-3 equalizer by devouring ISAGI, before ISAGI then finished and won the game for Blue Lock 11 with the final goal of the match. Besides all the goals that we saw, all of the players had their kind of individual and special moments, so for example Nico and Ryo were both able to stop Shido. Gagamaru had a great save. Karasu was the engine and heart of Blue Lock 11 throughout the match. Otoya, Yukimiya and Bajira proved their worth as ringers, and Hayori rebalanced the game when Blue Lock were about to lose. This game had literally everything, and for me it is for sure a no-brainer. S tier for the U20 arc. After that, where Blue Lock seemed to reach its peak, we got a small and calm fun and slice of life arc, where all of the Blue Lock members came together to have a great time, while ISAGI had his meetup with his former teammate, where he realized what he had to go through in the past couple of weeks and how far he has actually come. The arc in general was fun and relaxing, and it was cool to see a different side of all the characters, but yeah, in the end, it was nothing special, so unfortunately, I have to put it into D tier, as it is the worst arc to be honest, which doesn't mean that I dislike it a lot, but it wouldn't be fair to rate it higher compared to the other arcs, so yeah, D tier. Then we got the new Egoist League Arc, which is the current arc of Blue Lock, and this one was kinda difficult for me to rate to be honest. So first of all the world stars got introduced in this arc, from Noah, Snuffy, Prince to Lavinio, who are all the masters of the teams that participate in the NEL. With KAISER we got to see another big member of the new Gen 11, and a player who already is one of the most dangerous strikers in the world, despite being so young. Kunigami made his surprising return, which was very cool at the beginning, especially when he showed how much he has improved during the wildcard arc, as he was able to keep up with all of the best at Munich members in the training sessions, unlike Igarashi and ISAGI, who had the worst performances based on data during these sessions. With the Star Striker system, we finally got to see Noel play, who is the world's best player in Blue Lock, and in general, the new Egoist League has been an important arc for all of the Blue characters to develop. Players like Nagi, Chigiri and Reo were able to improve their physicality and find a technique which they could benefit from and use to score actively goals, while other players like Nico or Iko learned more passive abilities like Metavision to improve their movement and game sense. With Snuffy, we also got to see the master with the deepest backstory and biggest mentor figure for Baru, and I'm sure that we are going to see all of the masters once again in a World Cup or Champions League arc one day, if there's going to be one. And I'm sure that all of the Blue members will join big clubs after the new Egoist League arc, because with the NEL, there's also been the introduction of the market value system, where each of the players got their first market value and bids from big clubs like PSG, Bastard Munich, Arsenal, Dortmund and more. Unfortunately, the quality of the matches have been very different. The Bastard Munich vs Barca match was kind of boring in my opinion, the match vs manshine was nice, and the match vs Ubers in my opinion is my favorite one so far. But unfortunately Kanji was dragging out the duration of this match by adding lots of unnecessary content which wouldn't be needed to continue the story. Personally, I do think there are a lot of good things within the NEL arc, but in general I feel like the arc is never going to end. The Ubers match is still ongoing, and after that we still have the PXG match left, which will also take at least 20 chapters, so yeah. The Neo Egoist League is for sure going to be the arc with the most chapters. B tier for the Neo Egoist League arc. Alright guys, what do you think about my tier list? Which arc is your favorite one? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, stay safe and have a nice day.